Good afternoon and welcome to the second webinar today, talking about collaborative workflows with the team from Cherryduck Group. We have with us James Vellacott and Tom Smith. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Hey.
How are we doing?
Great. Thank you very much. Good to speak to you again after this morning. So a great session this morning, and we're going to be doing this again now. What we'll be doing is showing a video that the Cherryduck team have put together to talk about what they do, their production process, how they utilize our equipment, talking about the studios and their history. It's a great video, and at the end of that we'll have a question and answer section where we'll go through any questions you may have, anything you want to talk about, and stuff that's come out through the video, and to talk about the workflow. So just before we head into that, it's a little bit of housekeeping. We do have the GoToWebinar control panel, and on there you have the questions section. So please type in there any questions you have. And as I said, we'll cover those off at the end of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a video and we're going to sit back and watch that.
I'm James Vellacott and I'm the co-founder of the Cherryduck Group.
Hi, I'm Tom Smith. I'm head of post at the Nest Post.
Cherryduck was founded in 2008 by myself and my wife. I was a photojournalist and first started shooting video with the Canon 5D Mark II, a beta model that was given to me to take to Afghanistan. My wife is actually from an acting background, but again worked a lot with the newspapers, and the two of us decided to found Cherryduck back in 2008 to shoot behind the scenes videos initially and work for the fashion and beauty sector. That evolved in time. We started meeting various people and shooting a lot of behind the scenes work for fast moving consumer goods. From there we decided to find a location other than our flat to set the business up. I knew a photographer who had a studio. We took over that studio and set up the Cherryduck offices there. I was still shooting and editing as well to a degree. With time it grew. We managed then to purchase an area within the building that we're based in. Now that area is known as Cherryduck Studios. We've got 6,000 square foot of studio space, cameras, equipment, and lighting. We then went on to make a further property purchase next door to the studios, and refitted an office area, 8,000 square foot office area, as the Nest Post, which is where we are right now. Classically, post-production obviously has been very Soho based. I know you've got some of the bigger companies that are very further out, and location has always been a little bit of an issue for post houses in the past. We are based near Tower Bridge, so we are Zone 1, and we have got everything on site here. A year and a half ago, mid-lockdown, we were looking obviously at the strategic placement of Cherryduck. We were very much known as a one-stop shop, which was brilliant for some customers, but kind of cheapened us to others. And also there was obviously issues where we had one team across the entire business. We had everything from camera hire, studio hire, right the way through to cappuccino sales. So it was quite a wide range of products that we were offering. So what we decided to do is to focus on 3 separate areas for the business. Separate our studios out to one side. So they now live in a separate pillar where they hire obviously those spaces to various other production companies and businesses who want to use studio space and the equipment and the lighting. That lives out to one side as one pillar. Production, which is known as Preen. Now those guys specifically deal with branded content production. So we go out looking for brands and agencies to work for producing branded content. And then of course there's the Nest Post, which is the third pillar, which obviously again it's an important part of the production process, but can live out on its own. The reason being is that we then obviously can look at touting for business with other production companies without fear of any kind of conflicts, and it allows 3 separate teams now to concentrate on the 3 separate parts of the business: marketing, sales, and obviously optimizing each of those 3 pillars. Because we as a company own the space, we're not fitting it out for any landlords. So we've purposely designed everything bespokely for the Nest and the post-production side of the business.
When we had production companies approaching Cherryduck as a production company, it became quite difficult because they wanted to speak directly to the post team. They wanted to just use post only facilities, so it kind of diluted the kind of offering to go through another production arm. So separating the business and specifically from a post facility, it made sense and made us more attractive to bring new talent in, new production companies, new directors who just want to specifically work for us from a post production aspect. In terms of the facilities we have on offer at the Nest, we have collaborative co-working space upstairs with a bunch of meeting rooms and desks which people can hire on a daily or basis or a weekly basis. Downstairs, which is our main post-production facility, we have screening rooms, we have private suite hire, and we also have desktop stations as well, a total of 25 systems.
The studios side of the business, obviously we have all sorts of clients in there. Our own production team obviously use them from time to time, but 98% of the time they're used by various other production businesses, BBC, ITV, Sky, and other smaller independent production companies regularly use them as well, and all the equipment there.
Preen works, so you don't have to.
Having Preen as our production arm, they bring in a lot of branded content work for us. A few of the brands that we've worked with include Lush, Lefroy, Guinness, Essence, Google, Hallmark. A lot of different types of content, mainly focused in the social realm. But since moving to the three-pillar structure, we've been able to diversify the type of content we work on. So now we're working on a lot of not only short-form content, but longer-form content, events coverage, branded content, whether that's TVC or social content as well. With the Nest specifically, being able to target a different audience of work and a different aspect and focus more on, Sky. We've done a lot of work with Fresh Start Media, who do a lot of children's production. So we've done a lot of children's factual documentary, which we wouldn't have been able to do if we hadn't split off into the pillars.
Obviously having the pillars is great for different opportunities and specific teams working on each of those pillars. But the greatest thing about having everything here is that we can turn around such a lot of content so much more quickly than we would do if we were all independent companies. We've got a very fluid process between production, studios and post, which makes us very efficient.
Yeah, it puts those specialisms at the forefront, so depending on what you need, you can either have the whole package or you can just take sections.
Obviously, having this space, it's been a brilliant kind of almost incubator space for new talent. And obviously, part of our culture is to go out looking for new talent, diverse talent, and helping to grow the individuals' careers actually here within the space. And we've seen a lot of people coming in on training contracts who are now full-fledged members of staff, and some have left and to move up the ladder. So it's been a great space to have. I mean, and again, the space itself, we're working very hard towards going carbon neutral. Our production company, Preen here, is looking at post solutions rather than flying people to various places. So it's been a really nice setup to have in order to try and make a difference.
Our storage needs over time has definitely changed, especially moving to the Nest with Preen. Our workflows were very specific, whereas now, especially working with different production companies with different workflows, we found a lot more needs in terms of storage size and speeds as well. So currently we have at the Nest a space system with 76 terabytes of usable storage. One aspect that we need to make sure we do at the Nest is backup. So we make sure we have a replication of all that storage as well. So we have two space storage solutions. With storage, the key aspect for us and what we don't want it to do is get in the way of what we create and what we make. So the best thing for me is if it's ticking away in the background, it doesn't become an obstruction in terms of us creating. It means that, you know, our clients' storage, whether that's our own Preen productions or an external client, has the confidence that their data is secure and they've got resilient backups of that as well. When we built the Nest, we wanted to make sure that it was future-proofed. So we made sure that it was all fitted out for Cat60 networking, which means we can offer 10 gig to other suites. For the Nest, we have a space unit with 76 terabytes alongside a Hyperspace SSD cache. When we upgraded our space system, we had the option to add in the Hyperspace SSD caching, which has dramatically changed how we can kind of use the data. Obviously, having 76 terabytes of active storage is great, but you know we run through a lot of data, especially a lot of the projects we're doing now. We're shooting in 4K, we're shooting in higher bit rates and HDR, so we really need to think about archival of this footage. A lot of our projects are very collaborative. It's never just a single editor. You know, it goes through each of different stages, whether that's grading, mixing, or offline or online edit. So we need to have multiple people and multiple stations working on the same material. So having everything networked and getting the same speeds and throughput as if we're working on an SSD locally is just a massive benefit. So we never have to think about how we cache this or how do we create preview copies. You know, it just gives us that flexibility to just crack on with the work. There's been certain scenarios where we've also done on-site edits. A good example of that is the stuff we did for Lush Showcase in 2018. We sent 8 editors that was working across 5 different languages, all off the same FastNAS unit, and ingesting cards and having to do daily edits or hourly edits within multiple languages wouldn't have been achievable if we were all working from local media. So being able to have a product solution is a massive offering for us for on-site edits. There's no kind of having to learn a new tool. It's something we use daily and it all links together. So our products internally are the same as what we use external. Another example where we've taken the FastNASs recently is for a Pandora event we did, which featured Charlie XCX and Addison Rae. That was an on-site edit with 3 editors, including DIT. So having the FastNAS there allowed us to simplify our workflow from a storage and media perspective. It just gives us the one place to drop everything there from the roaming camera crew, and all the team can create their edits from all that footage.
13 odd years ago, we were literally myself and my wife in our spare bedroom. Now we've got a team of around about 25 full-timers based both in the Nest, the studios, and with our production team. And we scale up and down depending on projects as they come in the door. We managed to purchase the properties that we base our businesses in. That's the studios, production, and the co-working space, and of course this magnificent post floor. So yeah, we've come a long way, and in 10 of those years, GB Labs have been with us on it, and hopefully for the next 10 too.
Having GB Labs as a support has been fantastic. We've been with GB Labs for over 10 years, and there's never been a problem. And if we ever need any support, they're just on the end of a phone call. Having that kind of confidence and security, just behind the scenes, to know that everything's ticking along and we can have people remotely access and check in. If a drive goes, they can do health checks. It takes the pressure off and just alleviates. Everyone hates when they lose storage or the worry of losing storage, especially on these projects. You don't want to have to reshoot anything. So knowing we've got contingencies and backup solutions in place, it allows us to focus on what we do best, which is creating exciting content. So yeah, it's been a solid product that we've enjoyed using. We haven't had to learn anything else. All products are based off the same core OS, so there's no learning to it. There's no kind of retraining. It's very straightforward. It's very easy to set up workspaces and to tweak and customize. So yeah, having been with them for such a long time, we've it's great that we have a lot of trust in their products, and which is why one of the reasons we've stuck with them. Since lockdown and stuff, there's been a real change in terms of people's workflow and having a more hybrid solution for people being able to work remotely and still access the same media share and content that they've done in the office. Is a great opportunity, and the fact that we are based in Wapping, which is it's a fantastic area, and we are zone 1 now. They can come and see us in lockdown, see what we have to offer here, and the solutions we can do, whether they want to set their production company upstairs and take co-working space, and knowing that they've got all this post-production facility downstairs. We have a lot of flexibility here, so depending on how people want to use the Nest, it's a great place to be, and hopefully they see the merit.
we've kind of built an ecosystem here. So we've got lots of different businesses, lots of different specialists in different parts of post-production, all based here. When people walk through those front doors, have an amazing cappuccino from our barista. We throw them downstairs. We've even got a fireman's pole if they're in a rush. And yeah, I mean, it's been brilliant. It's been wonderful to see people, get people's feedback, the positive feedback we've been having from people.
Having started the company just before lockdown, you know, it put a lot of pressure on, and obviously people are discussing whether that, you know, people's workflows are going to change, or whether, you know, people are going to be starting working from home. But, you know, since we've come out of lockdown, we've seen a massive, you know, a really encouraging sign for people to get back into the office. In such a creative industry, people want to collaborate and they want to work together. So I think being able to offer a space like this and have, you know, everything here, and people can come in and use this, whether it's just for a day or if they want to take, you know, a longer production here, then they have those options.
When we bring clients, prospective clients into the space, again, super cool space, really nice suites, you know, air conditioned, fresh air systems, which meets the COVID requirement for our company policy, which is great. And then we get to the server room, which we've decked out, obviously, in all cool blue light. That was my idea. A fantastic setup there. They see the setup, they see the Hyperspace written across the front there. That really gives them, you know, that gives them confidence that we are the company to work with. So it's been a great benefit so far.
With a lot of the new working coming out of lockdown, we're seeing a big push towards working with a lot of different variety of content and production companies, which is, you know, it's a very exciting opportunity, and I can't wait to see what this year brings, and knowing that we have a product to support us that we have a lot of confidence in and know will do the job. It just takes a lot of pressure off, and you know, it's great that we have this space, and we're ready to go for 2022.
Excellent. Well, what a fantastic video, guys. That's really, really great. There's some brilliant stuff in there, and some really interesting content that you guys are creating as well. So we'll pop our cameras on now, and we'll answer any questions that have come through. So you should be able to see us. Hello.
You okay? How are we doing?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, what a great video. Some really lovely content in there, and some really interesting stuff as well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's such a great mixture you got with the three pillars, as you put it, between, you know, the sort of Cherryduck and the Preen and the nest, and sort of having that split that you can then provide those out independently. Do you often find that you have your own productions using everything all at once as well, or is it sort of the majority of Cherryduck going to external requirements?
Very much so. I mean, we still hire other studios elsewhere from time to time. A lot of our work is location work. Yeah, we use our studios a lot as well. I mean, the great thing is the producers who are sat upstairs here can sort of pick and choose what they need from what we have here. So we regularly see, obviously, the creative being done here, the pitching being done from here. Often the clients will come in, and then when we go to production, the studios are used, or the equipment from the studios are used, the cameras, the lighting, and all that kind of stuff is all based in the studios. And then obviously once the shoot is out of the way, in fact, even during the shoot, we can bring the stuff straight into post and keep an eye on it, make sure it's looking right, and also to, obviously, it's very good. Often people are having DITs or people from post actually on the shoots with them, so we don't need to do that here because we can literally fire it straight into the nest next door to the studios and keep an eye on things. So yeah, I mean, the whole process from concept through to delivery is all done in this building.
Yeah, having everything on premise and also close, it just makes just streamlines the workflow, and if people want to use that, they've got those options, and most of the times when they realize what we have here, they see the benefit of having it all together on one site. You're not just kind of having to contact and, you know, shut all media around. It's all together in one location. So yeah, it's been working really well.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky. I've known you guys for a long, long time, since you first got our kit in, and lucky enough to come to the nest before it was the nest and see what was happening there. And it was just a shell, and it's on your doorstep. It was a great find.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've grown organically. We've had no outside investment. We've got a mortgage that keeps me awake at night from time to time, but we haven't got a landlord, which is a great asset in this day and age, because we're not open to gentrification. We can sort of grow our own business, and as I say, it's almost like a bit of an incubator space for our business and the other businesses that are in here. So yeah, we I think we found the place in 2016. It was derelict. There were squatters in it. It's actually part of the building that we're in, where the studios are, but it was nobody knew about it. It had the gas meter was bypassed. I mean, it was literally, there was nothing legal about it at all. I got in touch with the landlord who kind of knew about it, and I think he was definitely taking a bit of rent from somebody. But anyway, he agreed to sell it to us, and we obviously stripped it out. We had 11 skips, 30 tons worth of rubbish and rubble come out of it once we cleared out all the mess that was in here, the false walls and everything. And we actually yeah, cleared it out, and it's made this fantastic 2-story facility. And we had Gensler come in, who the architects who did Facebook HQ in California, and they gave us the vision. They you know, we sort of took their ideas as to how we would fit it out, and we wanted to be a place where would really, you know, design for post-production, production and post-production, and make it a place that we could really feel comfortable in. And we knew if we felt comfortable in it, then our clients would feel comfortable in it. And so to the other small production companies and production-related businesses that have taken desk space in here and used the facilities. The great thing is, you know, when people come in the front door, they just see this fantastic setup of creative people in this really beautiful designed building workspace. And yeah, I mean, it just really underwrites their any fears of deliverability, and often helps to seal the pitch or the bid. So yeah, it's been such an asset to have it.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, it's a great space. It really is. Tom, you were talking earlier about the way that our product sort of integrates with your workflow and the way that you can bring people in and out, and talking about the upgrade you made with the Hyperspace and how much difference that made. How did that difference sort of manifest itself in your workflow?
Yeah, so we originally had a space unit, and when we moved into the new area, we wanted to make sure that we kind of future-proof the setup. So that's when we decided to add the Hyperspace SSD cache. And it's night and day the difference it's made. I think the great thing for us is the performance increase you get, and not having to think about. A couple of years ago, we made the transition from, which a lot of people did, from Final Cut 7 to Premiere, because Final Cut Pro X wasn't in a good place. And it was great because it allowed us to utilize different codecs and wasn't as temperamental in terms of being in specific file formats, which at the start was a good and bad thing because it put a bottleneck on the server. Since having had the Hyperspace cache on there, because it just simplifies how it caches that data, we've not really had to think about how that material is previewed or loaded locally. It just kind of sits in the background and just optimizes workflow. So yeah, we've got 25 systems down here. I think we've had about 20, including ingest system concurrent, and that's a mix of 10 gig connections in the private suites and 1 gig on the floor. And yeah, and we haven't really hit that ceiling yet in terms of maximizing that throughput. I think if we, yeah, as we kind of, we've got that option in the future to have all on 10 gig, and yeah, it's just been a lifesaver really, just in terms of not having it hasn't changed the workflow we had in place currently. Yeah. It's just optimized it and sped it up, so it's like working on an SSD connected just via USB 3. So no, it's been good.
Yeah, it's really great to hear actually that, you know, that's exactly the effect that we designed with it. You know, the whole point is that to the people using it and working from it, it's completely transparent, this massive boost that you're getting. And you know that if you chuck another couple of editors on, it's just going to happily work around with it. You know, it's quite unique in the way that it's accelerating the busy stuff that you can't predict. You can't predict when projects are going to become instantly live again because the clients rung up and needs it by 4 o'clock, and that might have been sat in the storage for 3 weeks. You know, and it instantly sort of intelligently accelerates that most busy data, and that's imperative when you're in production, because production is unpredictable at the best of times. I think we certainly found it has anyway. We had another couple of questions. Another couple of questions come in. Let's have a look. Says what sort of productions have you had? What's your best productions you've done, without mentioning any client names? a little bit like sort of saying, what's your favorite child? But yeah, what's your kind of some really exciting projects you've been working on, your favorite projects?
Yeah, well, I mean, we were discussing this early on, actually. One of the fun ones we did was working for a big clothing brand who asked us, could we take a drone to the Dolomite Mountains in Italy and film in 4K a piece for them to go out live on top of a mountain, which was, when the brief came in, I thought someone was having a bit of a wind up with us, but it was actually what they wanted, and we absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark. We've got in a drone operator, we've got a fantastic live team here in the production team who use live a lot, and we were streaming on top of the Alps, sorry, Dolomites. I think it's part of the Alps actually, in Italy, in 4K of people climbing the mountains there, and we had people. It was a live ticker tape runnings, and people weren't believing it was all live, and we actually ended up answering questions for people live from on top of the mountain. So a fabulously fun job to do.
Yeah, just to prove a point, it's like we are actually here. It is us, and it's live.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. You mentioned earlier the question about a little bit about sort of COVID actually, and that probably leads into that sort of fresh air system you mentioned as well, about how you guys dealt with lockdown, and what services you can keep offering both on-prem and sort of on location things.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as with most of us in this industry, we were all hit pretty hard by COVID from a business point of view. Obviously, a lot of people were hit a lot harder personally, but it was, yeah, I mean, we lost a lot of trade over it. A lot of our big commercial clients were reticent to spend any money on marketing, and we saw projects falling through, which was a shame. But there's a couple of plus points came out of it, really. I mean, we saw our studios busier than ever before. Surprisingly, we got out a very early COVID policy, which was we put out across the company, and it was sort of recognised by the likes of the BBC and a few other big names who ended up using our studios rather than their own, because they didn't have the correct studios or policies in place for using internal structures. So yeah, we ended up doing a lot of work with the studios. The fresh air system, you mentioned that when we first changed the use of the Nest, it was originally the property was for residential use only, and we went through a bit of a process and turned it to commercial use, which I know a lot of my property developer friends said it was commercial suicide, but we did it. So we turned it from residential to commercial. But one of the stipulations was that we had to have a fresh air system in to meet building regulations. And at the time, it was an £80,000 extra that I wasn't expecting when it came to the refit. But it's really played out well for us, because it allows every one of these suites has this fresh air system that comes in from the roof. The air's brought straight in, and it changes the air in the entire setup here every 15 minutes. So there's a constant stream of fresh air, which thankfully has meant that so far, touch wood, we haven't had any sort of cluster outbreaks here at all. So it's been a really, really good asset to have for the suites.
So each suite is totally self-contained. That's ideal, really, isn't it? Because you can get a small group in. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Fresh air, and we've got air conditioning in here as well. So it's really, and obviously it's perfectly set up for COVID, which is it's been a real benefit.
Yeah, we noticed over lockdown over COVID, sorry, there was definitely an increase in post inquiries with people not being able to shoot or hold events. There was a lot of requests for live streaming conferences, or doing more, or repurposing old work, or doing more animation work as well. So yeah, we noticed quite a keen interest in the Nest posts, just with different types of content they wanted to keep, so they were still communicating with their audiences. So it's good that we could continue doing that over lockdown.
And how do you see production moving forward? I mean, we're certainly seeing from a lot of clients we're talking to about this kind of, I don't like using the word hybrid, but it's what it is really, sort of a mixture of on-prem for the high-end stuff and the finishing and the grading and stuff, but also people being able to work at home and have a better quality of life and be able to work from home. How do you see that happening with what you're offering?
Yeah, I think yeah, a hybrid approach, as you say, is definitely something that's would definitely being explored more. I think especially here, when we kind of fit it out, as James has mentioned, we want this to feel like a space where people want to come and spend time. There's certain aspects such as grade and sound mix where you need those calibrated monitors and you need those specific
Of course, yeah.
rooms spec. So having certain parts where working from home can be difficult. But in terms of motion and offline editing, having that flexibility, and I know it's something we're still exploring. Of one of the difficulties we had at the start of lockdown was when we were first sending people home with systems and sending them a drive to go. It was the data or people's projects and the syncing it back with the server, because people had local media. It became quite difficult for people to keep that succinct project, especially when we had multiple editors or multiple motion artists on it. So what we ended up doing was having remote solutions for people to work on remotely. So they were still utilizing that same folder structure and setup. But with the products I know we've discussed currently, the Unify Hub, having that product that we can keep that same folder structure and utilize that remotely as well is something we're really keen on implementing in the Nest.
It's fair to say that a lot of the team here sort of younger as well, and it's a collaborative effort. A lot of what we're doing, we've got motion side by side with grading and editing, and these guys they like to bounce ideas off each other. And there's also, I think, it's important that people obviously are building their careers, and it's it's far more difficult to build your career sat at home behind your own computer when you're not meeting people. And again, we've designed this place, to have this wonderful buzz and feel about it. It's got a fantastic kitchen. It's got breakfast for everybody in the morning, all provided. We've got showers, and I mean the whole place is designed as a collaborative workspace. Absolutely, I can see that hybrid model coming into play here. But what we've actually seen is most of the team want to be in most of the time, which is really good news, because I honestly think you can tread water nicely working from home, but when it comes to growth, whether it be individuals, growth path or career, or indeed the business growth, I think having people around and bouncing off each other is really important.
Absolutely, yeah. That sort of human contact and that idea bucket, if you like, where people just shout something out and there's a discussion about it, and then it feeds it much quicker. It's exactly the same with us. We obviously had to work from home with lockdown, but when the teams are together, the ideas flow a lot faster and it's a lot easier to get something done. Because you can see if someone's busy or not, you can have a chat with them and get something done, which is great. One last question we've got coming about, so the servers you're describing sound very complex. How easy is it to connect up the workstations? Do you need software licenses or anything? Obviously, if you're bringing a new editor or someone's coming into the Nest and plugging in, how difficult is it?
Yeah, it's not too. It depends on what. It's super simple setup. It's just depending on whether they bring their own equipment or they're using ours. So we offer quite. We want to be as accommodating as possible, especially when working with new people. So if someone wants to just bring in their own equipment, we can, and then just be making sure we map the network share. Or if they use one of our systems, they're also set up as well. So we have separate workspaces for clients, so we can keep that all separate, and we can authenticate and password lock it if they want it as well. But yeah, it's just a case of plugging in. We have it all local, so it's on its own separate network here. It's also not outward facing, so from a security point of view, it's very safe. And then we also have replication of that data as well. So if people are worried about data loss, we have contingency and backup for that as well. So yeah, it's very straightforward.
Connect, get a share, connect up, mount it, and off you go. Excellent.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's what it should be, really. It should be that easy. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a little bit over time. I don't know if you guys have got any more questions other than what we talked about so far. I know your facilities are open and you're desperate to serve lots of lovely coffee to people like Helen Mirren. So maybe people go in to spot her occasionally.
This is it. I mean, we want to get the message out there. The biggest problem we have really is people don't really realise we're here. We've had this amazing setup. We're not from I'm not classically from the film production or video production background. We've kind of obviously made up as we've gone along to a degree, and now we've really got this refined setup here. But yeah, I mean, we're based near St Catherine's Dock, Tower Bridge on the north side of the river. Yeah, zone 1, so we're not far from Tower Hill, or we're about 5 stops, is it, from Shoreditch. So yeah, it's a fantastic location, really quiet. Lots of filming goes on around here. Beautiful cobble streets of Wapping. We're right next to the river, so some fantastic sort of bars and restaurants nearby. We even have a car park as well, which I know there's not many people in Soho that can boast that. So people do need to
revolutionary.
And if they've got an electric car, they can even plug into the sockets here. So it's I mean, it's fantastic. It's a really nice little location, nice setup, and obviously people that take desk space here then can well, they get discounts across all of the products here. So whether it be camera hire, equipment hire, studio hire, suite hire, post production, you know, any kind of post production part of the business. And not to mention our wonderful barista Daniela upstairs, who kind of runs the workspace. She's full of energy, and yeah, great coffees. So yeah, I mean, if anybody wants to come down and have a look around, we'll give them a tour about the place, and they get a bit of a feel for it, and they can obviously talk tech with Tom, and yeah, I mean, it's come down anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you do want to go and explore the amazing setup that they got down there, then please give the guys a call. Go to the website. They've got some great content, some show reels as well. There's some great stuff. And if you are looking for your storage partner and you want to explore your storage, then please give us a call. We're here to talk about, as these guys use, from portable all the way up to the high-end sort of 4K editing and production and audio, etc., etc. So I think that's it. I want to say thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Really good to see you. Fantastic facility and brilliant video. Thank you for that. And it's been a pleasure working with you since you got going for 10 years. Absolute pleasure. So we'll hopefully speak to you again soon, and I'll be popping in for one of those coffees.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Lovely. Yeah, take care. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.